After becoming the real young master, I decided to fully lay flat. Turns out my whole family can hear my inner voice. Yet even knowing the fake young master is framing me, they not only don't stop it, they act like they'd rather I were gone. Watching this family's antics, and remembering their doomed ending, I clutched my chest and bolted upright from my deathbed. For the sake of my future slacker young master life, I decided to use my own strength to help them defy fate and change their destiny. But before I knew it, the scene where the fake young master gets humiliated arrived. The gentle female voice came from outside the door. "You're saying Muge lives in a place like this?" Hearing that voice, I got instantly excited. Here it comes, here it comes. The first face-slapping scene for the fake young master is about to happen. By the voice, my birth mother has arrived. The woman that fake found should show up any moment too. Truly worthy of a wild kid picked up off the street. He actually thought to hire a pregnant woman to set me up. Good thing I came prepared. Just then Susie Xu's footsteps paused. She glanced around. This sudden voice left her a little flustered. Besides the three of them, there was no one else here. This clearly wasn't the assistant's voice, so it could only be Muge. Susie Xu called out tentatively. The young man in the wheelchair in the yard heard the voice and slowly turned his head. "You are?" My face was a little pale. I asked gently. Susie Xu was simply too moved seeing her biological son. She didn't take that earlier voice in her head seriously. She quickly stepped up to me, crouched down and gently took my hand, her eyes reddening once again. "Muge, I'm your mother, your birth mother." Just then that voice rang out again. "Wow, Mom's hand is so warm. Mom is so gentle. She looks like such an elegant lady. I didn't expect her to be this gentle." "That's strange then. Such a gentle mom. How did she raise such a bad seed?" "He's just a fake young master. Yet to ruin my reputation as the real one, he actually hired a pregnant woman to come yell at me, insisting the baby in her belly is mine. Truly, human nature is evil. A bad seed is a bad seed." I sighed again. Good thing I'm naturally smart and came prepared. Susie Xu froze, then glanced at the assistant beside her. He didn't seem to hear any of it. Could it be she can hear Muge's inner voice? Susie Xu seemed to realize something. And this pregnant woman Muge kept mentioning, what was that about? And the bad seed he spoke of, could it be Muyu at home? Though Muyu isn't their biological son, and they did spoil his temperament a bit. He's just like any other rich young man, fond of eating, drinking and having fun. How could he possibly do something as vicious as framing someone? Susie Xu felt this was Muge's malicious speculation. Her face cooled a few degrees, and inwardly she felt disappointed in this biological son before her. But before she could speak again, a heart-wrenching wail came from behind. "Muge, how could you treat me like this? The child in my belly is yours." A pregnant woman with a big belly came through the door and lunged towards Xiao Lai. "Muge, you heartless man. Don't think just because you're back to being the young master, you can ignore us mother and child. If you dare abandon me, I'll ruin your reputation." Xiao Lai's face visibly panicked. He hurriedly backed away, while looking to Susie Xu for help. Susie Xu didn't react in time either. It was me who cleared my throat at the right moment. "You've got the wrong one. I'm Muge." The woman, startled, turned to glance at me, then looked at Xiao Lai. "No one told me beforehand this Muge was a cripple." "Whatever, the act comes first." So she scrambled up and lunged toward the wheelchair again, repeating the line she just said. Except the pregnant woman herself. Everyone present fell silent, and I, with a wounded look, said, "Jaxuet, you couldn't even recognize me? You've made me so sad." The woman didn't get it, but kept sobbing. "It's all your fault. That night, drunk, you and afterward you kept shutting me out. So I forgot what you even looked like." Such a clumsy excuse made Xiao Lai and Susie Xu beside her twitch, and I grabbed the pregnant woman's hand and said with utter sincerity, "Xiaoxa, I never expected that even as a cripple, you'd stick by me without fail. I'm truly so moved. Let's go register and get married right away. With you by my side to care for me my whole life, I'm content." At these words the woman froze. She just wanted to find someone to take the fall. How did this turn into throwing away her whole life? I continued, "Oh, right, and our child. I looked it up before. Some poor families, their kids can cook for the family at age 3. Later our child can do the cooking, and you'll handle my bedpan duties. The 3 of us, one happy little family." The woman's face changed completely. Recalling what that man had said, she was still unwilling to give up. She was just one step from being a rich man's wife. She turned to the dignified woman beside her, wondering whether to try working on this future mother-in-law. But before she could open her mouth, I spoke first. "Xiaoxa, look at the state I'm in now. I don't want to burden anyone. The 3 of us will live in this little courtyard. Later you can dig up all these flowers and plant vegetables instead, so we can be self-sufficient." As I said it, I looked up and winked at Susie Xu. Susie Xu had guessed something by now, and said coldly, "Our Mu family has strict rules. Since Muge tried to abandon you mother and child, then he's an ingrate, unworthy of returning to our Mu family. As for you, a woman who got pregnant out of wedlock, so indecent. Our Mu family won't want you either." The pregnant woman was speechless. How is this not going like the script in her head? Seeing Susie Xu play along so well, I hurried to add fuel. "Xiaoxuet, let's go. We'll register right now." As I spoke, one hand spawned the wheelchair, and the other gripped the woman's wrist. The woman fully panicked, struggling. "Wait. I got the wrong person. You're not my child's." Unable to keep up the pregnant act, she flung my hand off and hurried toward the exit, muttering in disgust as she went, If I'd known he was a dead cripple I wouldn't have come. Damn it, tricking me into nursing a guy in your dreams. Holding her belly, the woman walked like the wind, and was gone in a flash. I breathed a sigh of relief, and sprang up from the wheelchair. Where was there a single trace of a disabled man? Then I wheeled the chair to the neighbor's yard. Thanks, Grandpa John. Here's your wheelchair back. Coming back, I gave Susie Xu a brilliant smile. Mom, my things are all packed. We can head out now. Susie Xu looked at her biological son before her, deeply relieved. Her newfound son is a clever one, and that's a good thing. Only, she recalled Muju's inner voice from earlier, and still didn't want to believe it. Even if Muju isn't her biological child, she raised him from childhood. How could he do such a thing? The three of us reached the intersection and saw two luxury cars parked not far off. Muj, your father's here. Susie Xu looked at that Bentley and smiled. Your dad is usually very busy. Today, no one was coming to find you. He pushed his work aside and rushed over. As she said it, the Bentley's rear door opened. Wu Qingshan couldn't even wait for the driver to get the door, and impatiently got out himself. Looking at me, his eyes were full of excitement. He gave my shoulder a heavy pat. Test, worthy of being my birth father. He really is handsome. No wonder he gets eyed everywhere he goes. Those women, from as young as 18 to as old as 58, every one of them wants to climb into his bed. Hearing this voice, Susie Xu's face instantly darkened. She looked at Mu Qingshan, whose expression had gone from excited to awkward. She realized he could hear Muju's inner voice too, and judging by Mu Qingshan's expression, Muj had probably hit the mark. Mu Qingshan was startled by Muju's inner voice too, but with Susie Xu present, he didn't dare ask anything. Alright, shall I go buy Muj a few sets of clothes first? We'll ride back in Sister Zhang's car. What? Ride in this car? If anything happens on the road, I can't let them be in danger. I sped up and grabbed the front passenger seat first. The car started, and my gaze kept drifting to the driver. Sister Zhang, you don't look so good. If you're not feeling well, you can drive slower. Wu Qingshan asked, puzzled. Sister Zhang, are you unwell? No, Sister Zhang denied it. You're fine now, of course, you will be soon. Having a crush on my old man is one thing, but to actually put that kind of thing inside her body while driving, playing this perverted, you better not move around. That remote is right under your butt. Hearing this voice, Wu Qingshan felt under his seat, and at the same time the car suddenly braked. Sorry, someone was up ahead just now. Sister Zhang scrambled for an excuse, but right now the car was driving on a wide open road. Where was anyone up ahead? Looking at Sister Zhang's stammering words and flushed face, Wu Qingshan and Susie Xu were no fools. They understood at once. Wu Qingshan didn't dare move at all. Susie Xu, face dark, reached under Wu Qingshan's seat, and sure enough felt a small remote control. Seeing the remote discovered, Sister Zhang's heart jolted. Wu Qingshan felt sick to his stomach, trembling with anger. Pull over. Sister Zhang didn't dare disobey, and hurriedly pulled the car over. Get out. Before Sister Zhang could finish, Wu Qingshan threw open the driver's door, yanked her out, got into the driver's seat himself, and drove off with one stomp on the gas. Behind us came Sister Zhang's heart-rending screams. On the way, Susie Xu called Xiao Lai, and fired Sister Zhang on the spot. Wu Qingshan now realized Susie Xu could also hear Muju's inner voice. He gave an awkward twitch of his lips, glanced at the dark-faced Susie Xu through the rearview mirror, and explained sheepishly, I really didn't know. But Susie Xu just shot him a look, still saying nothing. Didn't expect my old man to be so whipped, though this really isn't his fault. He's always been a bit dense in this area. The obvious ones he can turn down, but these covert perverts are impossible to guard against. Hearing this voice, Wu Qingshan was so moved he nearly teared up. Truly my own son. Susie Xu's expression finally softened a little. Muj, if you're tired you can sleep for a bit. So I leaned back against the seat and slowly closed my eyes. Mom is so gentle. Too bad this gentleness is short-lived. Once we get back and they see their precious son throwing a fit about running away from home, they'll probably start hating me. By then, whether dad or mom, even our whole family, won't think well of me. If it were someone else, they'd be too embarrassed to keep living in that house. Good thing I'm thick-skinned enough. No way I'm backing down even half a step. Muyu's going to run away from home. Wu Qingshan and Susie Xu both startled when they talked to Muyu about it. He'd said he understood. He shouldn't make a fuss, right? About an hour later, the car pulled into a suburban villa. The butler hurried up. Master, madam, you're finally back. The young master is making a fuss about running away. Wu Qingshan and Susie Xu's hearts dropped. But because they were already mentally prepared, they didn't look very panicked. They followed the butler to the living room and saw Muyu had already packed a suitcase, coming down from upstairs. Muyu looked very upset. I thought about it all night, and still feel it's better for me to leave this home. After all, little brother is back. I should return this home to him. As he said it, he looked at me standing in the back. According to his plan, his parents doted on him so much, they would definitely comfort him now. But to his surprise, Wu Qingshan and Susie Xu only exchanged a glance, their expressions turning solemn. Without Muju's warning, Given their temperaments, they really would have rushed to comfort and keep him. But after hearing Muju's inner voice, they couldn't help feeling Muyu was being unreasonable right now. Muyu kept carrying the suitcase down the stairs. Seeing Mu Qingshan and Su Jiexu say nothing, the butler got anxious and was about to step up to stop him. But Muyu's attitude was unusually resolute. The Mu family raised me for 20 years. I'm truly content. I can't ask for too much. These words finally moved Mu Qingshan and Su Jiexu. After all, Xiao Yu, didn't we agree before? We're only bringing you back, not driving you away, Su Jiexu said tenderly. Mu Qingshan chimed in. That's right. Xiao Yu, you'll always be our son. But Mu Yu still shook his head. Everything I have originally belonged to him. If I keep staying, one day the Mu family won't be able to tolerate me. Mu Yu, playing the victim, steered the conflict toward me. Watching Mu Yu's crestfallen look, Su Jiexu couldn't help but thought rising up. For these 20 years, their family had lived just fine. Now, because of Muju's return, that original peace was being shattered. So was their insistence on bringing Muj back even the right choice? Amid this hesitation, Mu Qingshan and Su Jiexu heard Muju's inner voice again. Keep acting. Keep it up. Such clumsy acting. Only Dad and Mom would fall for it. He's already certain Mom and Dad won't actually let him leave. That suitcase is empty. Just for show. Mu Qingshan frowned and glanced at Su Jiexu. The two had a tacit understanding. No words needed. Now Muyu had come down from upstairs, and Su Jiexu stepped up, reaching to take the suitcase from Muyu's hand. Muyu was startled and quickly pulled the suitcase behind him. Though it was just an instant, Su Jiexu still felt the weight of that suitcase. Empty, even if not completely empty, it could only have a few things inside. When Muyu gave it a hard tug, you could faintly hear things rattling inside. Muyu also realized his little trick seemed to be exposed, and immediately said loudly, Master Mu, Madam Mu, since I'm not your biological son, I won't take anything from this house. As he spoke, he painfully took a few luxury car keys from his bag. You have to understand, these were his favorite things. To make his parents regret it, he went all in. Su Jiexu and Mu Qingshan had been uneasy, but seeing Muyu actually willing to hand over his favorite cars, plus that distant way he addressed them, their hearts softened again. But they have misunderstood. Before they could think more, I stepped forward first and took those car keys from Muyu's hand. Muyu's chest heaved with rage, but he forced himself to hold it in, squeezing out a strained smile. These were all birthday gifts for Master Mu and Madam Mu. I hope little brother won't look down on them. I pretended not to catch Muyu's snide tone, and said with a smile, since they're things Mom and Dad bought, how could I look down on them? Are you kidding? How could I look down on these cars? Flip them for resale, and that's no small money. I've got to look out for myself. After all, before long the Mu family will go bankrupt. Muju's inner voice made Su Jiexu and Mu Qingshan's hearts shout in alarm. From the start until now, Muju's inner voice hadn't been wrong once, which they truly found hard to accept. Just as they hesitated, a sound came from the entryway by the door. A young woman in a black trench coat, tall and slender, walked in. Her gaze finally landed on the car keys in my hand, her eyes full of disdain and disgust. She scoffed, just got here and already grabbing other people's things. Truly someone from the countryside. Shuyan, Su Jiexu frowned. This eldest daughter of hers was always blunt, and seemed not to have grasped the situation, still thinking Mu was really being bullied. I looked up too, and saw Mu Qingshan, fine featured with exquisite makeup, long curls falling over her shoulders. Standing there, she gave off a proud, commanding air. Only her expression was a touch cold, hard to approach, worthy of being the Mu family's heir. But what a pity. She's a tragic tale heroine. Later she'll be conned by her best friend, working with a scumbag, and even have her heart and kidney dug out, dying horribly. So tragic. Hearing this voice, the Mu couple present, and Mu Qingshan herself all froze for a moment. Heart and kidney dug out. Could it mean Mu Qingshan was pregnant? The Mu couple silently pricked up their ears, wanting to hear Muju's inner voice continue. Though Mu Qingshan heard the voice too, she only thought she was hearing things. She did have a fiancé now. Introduced by Muyu, no issues with his family background, good character and ability too. You could say a perfect match. But in this society of laws, how could anyone just casually have her organs removed? And her best friend, a friend of over a decade, who'd share hardships with her, would never betray her. Just then Mu Qingshan glanced at her parents' expressions, which had turned shocked and worried. Could it be they heard that voice too? Mom, Dad, did you also hear? At the dinner table, the Mu couple eagerly served me food, expressing their care for me, while Muyu's left hand clenched tight. Seeing his parents treat me so well, he was displeased but didn't dare show it. After dinner my parents asked my opinion, wanting me to take over the family business directly. Surprised, I asked, but I don't know anything. It's fine, you can start from the bottom. The company will be yours in the future anyway. Wu Qingshan thought I was being modest, but then heard my inner voice. I'm already a second-gen rich kid. Why do I still have to work? Wouldn't being an idle millionaire be better? Besides, I still have to go to college. There's someone at college waiting for me to teach a lesson. Susie Xu realized that maybe, because of poor conditions, I'd missed out on education. She immediately tugged Wu Qingshan's sleeve and changed her mind. Honey, Muji's still young. He should go to school first. He can join the company after graduating. And then, uncharacteristically, Wu Yu spoke up. Agreeing that I go to school. I sneered inwardly. This Wu Yu is so thick-skinned. He was playing pitiful just now, and now he's sucking up the mom and dad again. Will you remember the info he dug up before? You won't pass up a chance to humiliate me. There's still half a year until next year's college exams. Lately our university is partnering with an outside agency for admissions. A little money and you can get in. Wu Qingshan frowned slightly, knowing such schools are just diploma mill operations, but a proper school really couldn't take me. Before he could speak, I smiled. Mom, Dad, I forgot to tell you, I already have a school. It's the finance major at a university, the same one Wu Yu attends. I even pulled up a university's student website on my phone, found my information, and showed my parents. A flash of agitation crossed Wu Yu's eyes, thinking I was faking and lying. He tapped a few times on my phone screen, trying to expose my lie, but he found the page scrolled normally. It wasn't a screenshot. Wu Yu fumed inwardly. This is outrageous. A university's specially designed student website, and someone's still faking it. I have to report this. I saw through Wu Yu's thoughts, and couldn't be bothered to keep arguing. Real or fake, I know for myself. Seeing this, Wu Yu got anxious, and continued. Mom, Dad, this time you must look into it. Don't be fooled by him. Wu Yu's anxious tone displeased Suzy Xu. She frowned. Shall you? Haven't I taught you not to make baseless, malicious assumptions about people? We just decided to let Muj join the company directly. What reason would he have to deceive us? Mom, I didn't mean it that way. I'm just worried little brother Muj got scammed. There are people out there posing as students to swindle money. Suzy Xu's expression eased a little. Wu Qingshan knew Wu Yu's little scheme, but worried too. After all, I hadn't taken a college exam and had missed half a year of school. Muj, what Xiao Yu says makes some sense. Tell Mom and Dad the details. Don't really get scammed. I gave a light sigh, put down my chopsticks, took out my phone and dialed a number. The call connected quickly, and a familiar gentle voice came through. Muj, what's up? I quickly replied. Professor Lai, I'd like to get the materials for the freshman finance required course to study ahead, so it won't be too hard when I return. My tone was respectful and modest. Professor Li seemed full of concern. Of course, I'll send it to your email shortly. By the way, how's your situation being handled? Say so if you need help. Don't carry it all alone. I hurried to reassure. Don't worry, I'll be back at school soon. After a few more pleasantries, I hung up. Then looked up and said to those at the table, this is my advisor, Professor Lai Xiaoli of University's Finance Department. Unexpectedly, Wu Yu burst out laughing. Muj, you've been scammed, haven't you? Where's there a school that lets you make up half a year of missed classes? If so, wouldn't the school be in chaos? Truly from the countryside, those nothing, falling for such a clumsy scam. At these words, Wu Qingshan and Suzy Xu felt this was unreliable. I sighed and said, Dad, you have a partnership with the university. Just call and ask the student records center. It's no trouble with things at this point. Wu Qingshan and Suzy Xu looked a bit awkward. Digging into it like this seemed like distrusting me, but once it was said, they had to get it cleared up. Wu Qingshan could only bite the bullet and call an acquaintance. John, sorry to trouble you again. I want to check my son's student records. Not the one from before, the biological son I just found. Yes, he's in your school's finance major. Soon after, the student records were sent over. Wu Qingshan opened it and read the information aloud. Muj, Mayo. ID number such and such. Admitted by special exception for participating in a classified project. After reading, he looked up at me. Others might not understand, but the weight of those words classified project. He knew. At a top university, many research projects are top tier, and anything classified is the top of the top. Wu Chunin, silent until now, also looked up. She'd heard of special exception admissions too, but didn't understand how a poor kid from the countryside could have the ability to take part in such a top-tier research project. Just as everyone was stunned, Wu Yu sneered. Classified, my foot. The school just took the money and made up an excuse. Muj, why don't you tell us yourself what classified project you joined? I said flatly. Wu Yu, you want to go in and operate the sewing machine. Just don't drag us in with you. He totally didn't get my meaning. Blocking me. This idiot still wants to send the whole family to prison. Really thinks he's something. Enough. Suzy Xu cut in, unable to take it. From Wu Yu's initial fury earlier to this moment's ignorant arrogance, she began to wonder if her years of education had gone wrong somewhere. The other Mu family members, smart or not, capable or not, at least were cultured and sensible, staying humble before the unknown, and never assumed the worst of family members. Could it really be a matter of bloodline? Though Mu Chuyin also disliked Mu Yu's attitude, seeing her parents' bad mood, she patiently explained, Xiao Yu, you don't know, these classified projects all require signing confidentiality agreements. Once leaked, everyone involved gets investigated. Wu Yu's mocking smile froze on his face, but he still wasn't ready to give up, even with special exception admission. What about him missing half a year of school? His tone was still doubtful, but with less conviction. Just then Mu Qingshan's phone rang. An unknown number. On answering, that gentle voice from earlier came through again. Muge's father. I'm Muge's advisor, Li Xiaoli. Here's the thing. Turns out after Mu Qingshan inquired about Muge's records, that side notified her directly. Professor Li worried something had happened at home again, and hurried to call and explain. Our school really treasures this fine talent. At his level there's no need to take a leave of absence. The coursework can all be made up later. This was discussed with the higher-ups. I hope you understand, and stop keeping him from school. Professor Li, who started gentle and turned stern at the end. Wu Qingshan awkwardly went along, finally hanging up the phone. He let out a long breath, and glared resentfully at Mu Yu. All this kid's fault, doubting this and that, making him look like a father who neither understands his own son, nor is responsible. Su Xiexu noticed another issue. Muge. Professor Li just said don't keep you from school. What does that mean? Did your foster parents not let you go to school before? I lower my head, unwilling to explain much. It's a bit complicated. I'll tell you slowly some other time. Seeing me like this, Su Xiexu was heartbroken. Such an outstanding son, nearly lost his chance to go to school. She didn't even dare imagine what hardships I'd endured in daily life. By comparison, Mu Yu was rather ungrateful. Their Mu family gave him such good living conditions, hired top tutors for his studies, and the result, his scores couldn't even get into a private college. In the end the Mu family donated 2 laboratories just to barely squeeze him in. Mu Yu, slapped hard in the face today, seethed with rage, and stayed shut in his room the whole afternoon. And I sat in the living room leisurely eating fruit, knowing he was surely scheming how to harm me again. But I wasn't worried at all, because no matter what he does, I have ways to know in advance. Because I have a magical melon eating system. When I transmigrated into this world, I got a melon eating system. At first I thought it was useless, but later found that knowing that juicy gossip in advance was pretty fun. This data system prompted me again. Host, you gossip incoming. Will you just stuff the Mu family's second daughter's sexy lingerie into your blankie? You're about to be branded a pervert. Hearing it gave me a headache. I thought, no wonder there were sneaky footsteps upstairs just now. At the same time, the Mu couple and eldest sister Mu Chuyan heard my inner voice too. Damn it, that idiot Mu Yu actually used such a dirty trick to slander me. Hats off to his imagination. Everyone froze, but my first reaction was, no good. Second sister Mu Baixuan is a germaphobe. If discovered, she'll definitely send me to prison. Knowing the situation was serious, I immediately went to my room and pulled back the blanket, and sure enough found that white hollowed lace lingerie. My face flushed in an instant, both embarrassed and angry. This is too much. If found, won't second sister carve me up with a scalpel? I wanted to quietly return it, but before I could get out the door, I heard Mu Baixuan's voice downstairs. Mom, Dad, I'm home. I panicked. Going to her room now would be walking right into the trap. So I stuffed the lingerie into my pocket. The one happiest about Mu Baixuan coming home was Mu Yu. He immediately rushed downstairs, feigning worry. Second sister, that guy's got problems. I saw him sneak into your room. I'd clearly told him beforehand. Second sister is a germaphobe, doesn't like others entering her room. Even the cleaning maid only goes once a week, and has to spray disinfectant herself. Hearing this, she flew into a rage. How outrageous. She strode upstairs at once, keenly noticing someone had been there, seemingly even touched her cabinet. Mu Yu prompted maliciously. Second sister, I saw him seem to secretly take something. Second sister immediately opened the cabinet, saw that little drawer left ajar, and her face changed dramatically. The Mu couple and Mu Chuyan also came out. Seeing her expression, they seemed to understand. Mu Chuyan asked a few quiet questions, and second sister nodded. Mu Yu seized the chance to stir the pot. Second sister, did you lose something? Muge is still in his room. I'll go settle the score with him right now. He gloated inwardly, the plan going smoothly. He immediately rushed to my door and pounded hard. Muge, open up. I know you're inside. Open the door now. After a few knocks the door opened. I feigned ignorance, looking at the crowd outside. Puzzled. What's going on? Mu Yu squeezed right into the room, sneering. You stole second sister's things and still play innocent. He stared at the blanket spread on the bed, his heart growing more pain. He figured I wouldn't get into bed during the day, so I naturally wouldn't have found what he'd hidden. After the family came in, Mu Yu put on a show, saying, Muge, at this point just take the thing out. I looked baffled. Take what out? Mu Yu rolled his eyes, saying impatiently, do I really have to spell it out? I blinked, all innocent. Then go ahead and say it. Mu Yu, exasperated, said, fine. Since you won't save your own face, don't blame me for being blunt. I just saw you come out of second sister's room and steal something. I recalled it calmly. You saw wrong. According to his plan, at this point I should be desperately explaining, looking guilty. But I denied it and showed no remorse. Mu Yu got flustered. How could I have seen wrong? Do you dare let me search? Unhurried, I sat down on a little sofa, gave a light wave. Go ahead, search. Just tidy up after you're done. Mu Yu had been waiting for this moment. He first made a show of opening the cabinet and glancing inside, then walked to the bed, yanked back the blanket and shouted, everyone look, but the words cut off halfway, because he found the thing he'd hidden was gone. Now the blanket only had a few worn pairs of men's underwear. all stuffed in by Muyu to make Much seem even more of a pervert. But where did the sexy lingerie go? Muyu muttered to himself and started rummaging frantically, making a mess of the bed. I feigned alarm and stepped up to stop him, mumbling, Hey, don't touch my underwear. What's wrong with you? Why are you pawing through someone's underwear? Strange, I clearly put my underwear away. Why is it all in the blanket? The people beside us were speechless at the sight. Just then, Muyu flung over a pair of underwear. Everyone couldn't help but look, their gazes turning subtle. That pair had an obvious bulge in the middle, and it looked quite large. Muyu was already frustrated, and seeing everyone's reaction, he flew into a rage. How could it be this big? No one expected Muyu to blurt that out. The scene turned awkward, everyone looking for an excuse to leave. I smiled and asked, "What? You want to compare?" Muyu did have that thought. He found me especially unpleasant now, just wanted to one-up me in every possible way. But before Muyu could answer, a cold voice came from behind. Shameless. Mu Baeksuan gave a cold snort and turned to leave. That remark was obviously aimed at me, but I just smiled at Muyu and said snidely, "Why are you pawing through someone's underwear again? Caring so much about this area, you don't have a thing for men, do you?" Muyu's chest was about to burst with rage. He cursed, "Bullshit," and stormed off too. The Mu couple and Mu Chu men, each with their own thoughts, watched this farce. They'd wanted to verify whether the inner voice they heard was true, but having not seen Mu Baeksuan's lingerie, they remained doubtful. At dinner, the atmosphere at the table turned strange. The Mu couple tried to formally introduce Mu Baeksuan and me, but Mu Baeksuan's attitude was very cold. I had no issue with Mu Baeksuan. After all, she's my biological sister, and petite, who stays naturally lovely even without makeup. Who wouldn't like a pretty sister? What's more, she's a famous surgeon at a hospital in the capital, having saved countless people. A remarkable angel in white. It's just a pity that suddenly, Mu Baeksuan, who'd been silently eating, heard a voice. Second sister seems fine on the surface, but she's a pitiful person too. She jerked her head up, but found everyone else with heads down eating. Not a single person had spoken. Actually, this was something the Mu couple and Mu Chuan had agreed on, so as not to let Much discover they could hear his inner voice, deliberately acting as if nothing happened. This instead made Mu Baeksuan suspicious. If she hadn't misheard, that voice should be Much's, but right now Much was holding a pork knuckle, gnawing away, clearly not talking. Poor second sister got into such a great major, only for a classmate to secretly change her application, and later got her right hand crippled, never able to pick up a scalpel for the rest of her life. This time Mu Baeksuan saw it clearly. Much's mouth indeed hadn't moved. To be exact, no one at the table had moved their mouth. Could this be Much's inner thoughts about the application being tampered with years ago? Mu Baeksuan had never told anyone. To be precise, even she didn't know what had happened, always assuming she'd filled it in wrong, which is why she wasn't admitted to her first choice. Thinking back now, the matter really was odd. Mu Baeksuan had always been a very careful, meticulous person, and the application form was something so important. How could she be careless? But she only remembered that at the time, she had indeed gone with several classmates to fill out applications. Could it really have been changed by one of them? Thinking it over, Mu Baeksuan couldn't help pricking up her ears, wanting to keep listening to Much's inner voice. The others grew attentive too. They also wanted to know exactly who had robbed Mu Baeksuan of becoming a doctor, but at this moment I was gnawing the pork knuckle even more intently, saying not a word about which classmate it was. "Much, today your second sister wronged you. Don't be angry." Wu Qingshan tried bringing up a topic about me to make Much's inner voice continue, but I just shook my head indifferently, saying carelessly, "It's fine. Second sister was just anxious. Don't worry. I know second sister doesn't like people going into her room. I won't go." Hearing these words, Mu Baeksuan's heart sank again. Others didn't know, but she knew herself. She had indeed lost a piece of lingerie. Besides, she and Muyu had been siblings for 20 years, so naturally she leaned more toward Muyu, since Muyu said he saw Much go into her room. And she had indeed lost something. Even without finding it in Much's room, Much's suspicion was still high. Plus, having just seen Much casually stuff underwear into the blanket, she couldn't help suspecting Much might really be a pervert. After dinner, even after hearing about Much's inner voice, she was still uneasy. She'd always been a materialist, not believing in such nonsense. After much thought, she contacted a psychiatrist she knew, planning to go see them tomorrow. Perhaps the work pressure had been heavy lately, giving her auditory hallucinations. In any case, until there was solid evidence, Mu Baeksuan absolutely refused to believe she could hear anyone's inner voice. That night the Mu couple lay in bed tossing and turning, also pondering the matter of Much's inner voice, not knowing if it was true. The matter of Muyu framing Much by hiding lingerie still hadn't been confirmed. They couldn't act rashly, but Much had lived hard out there all these years, and they owed him. After discussing, they decided to first make it up in the simplest, most direct way. Buy cars, buy houses, whatever Muyu had before, Much must have too. So the next day, a pile of property listings was stacked in front of me. Muyu saw this and gnashed his teeth in hatred, fists clenched tight, but didn't dare say much, and I was a bit lost. Being a transmigrator, I didn't understand this world well, so I quickly called the system. To my surprise, the system actually responded, then ran through the detailed info of every house and the listings. After hearing it all, I looked at the listings, disappointed. Looks like revenge just isn't in the cards for me. Just then, the system's prompt rang out again. Host, there's a wasteland whose price is about to double soon. You might want to look into it. My eyes instantly lit up. I pointed at a map on one of the flyers. Mom, I want this one. Susie Ixu tilted her head to look, recalling the situation of this neighborhood. But this seemed to be just an ordinary neighborhood. Prices only around 10,000. This made Susie Ixu both touched and pained. Her new son was truly so sensible, saving money for them like this. I shook my head and just picked up a pen and circled a spot on the map. Not Longqing Garden, it's here. But this seems to be a wasteland. Mom, can I have this plot of land? Just a piece of useless wasteland. What taste he has. Muyu couldn't help mocking from the side. I ignored Muyu and said earnestly to Susie Ixu, Mom, this plot's price will double within half a month. Susie Ixu frowned slightly. Their family made its fortune in real estate, so they had some grasp of the value of various nearby lands. But according to what they gathered before, this plot was in a remote suburb where prices hadn't risen for years. How could it suddenly jump in price? As she puzzled, she heard Muju's inner voice. PFFD, some rich mine owner, this year hit by who knows what bad luck, all kinds of misfortune, is looking for a feng shui spot to build a house, and before long he'll take a fancy to this plot. But I just got home. Can't be greedy with my mouth wide open. Asking for one plot is enough. Otherwise, if I bought up these few surrounding plots together, I'd strike it rich. Susie Ixu was greatly shocked inside. Muyu couldn't hear Muju's inner voice, only saw Susie Ixu's hesitant look, and sneered, Mom, you actually believe his nonsense? Even our Mu family hasn't gotten word that plot's price will rise. How could he possibly know? I think he's just fooling you. Alright, Muj, I'll have the assistant handle the paperwork this afternoon. Susie Ixu ignored Muju. Muj only wanted this one small plot anyway. Not much money. A drop in the bucket compared to what they'd spent on Muju over the years. What truly made her undecided was whether to believe Muj's inner voice and buy up the surrounding plots too. She had to hurry and discuss it with her husband. After that, she rushed to the study to call Mu Jingshan. Muyu, seeing the mother who'd once doted on him most, now even ignore his words, flew into a rage. I paid no attention to Muyu's look like he wanted to eat someone and went off to stroll in the back garden on my own. When Mu Jingshan got Sushi Ixu's call, he immediately rushed back from the company. After discussing, they made a decision. Besides buying the plot I'd chosen and giving it to me, they also quietly bought up several nearby plots under the company's name. They also wanted to verify whether Muj's inner voice held up. Near dinner time, Mu Chuyan suddenly hurried out of her room. Mom, Dad, don't prepare dinner for me. I have something to do at the company. Just then they heard Muj's inner voice again. Tisk tisk, busy with work really is an all-purpose excuse. She's clearly going to see that scumbag. Mu Jingshan and Suji Ixu exchanged a glance, both pricking up their ears in unison. Yesterday they'd heard Muj's inner voice say Mu Chuyan was some tragic tale heroine, that she'd be conned by a scumbag and her best friend, and ultimately meet a horrible death. Today they finally caught the follow-up. Mu Chuyan couldn't help pausing her steps, though she was skeptical of Muj's inner voice. When it involved matters about herself, she wanted to listen too. And so the three people at home, ears pricked, held their breath and waited patiently. Soon my inner voice sounded. The scumbag by phone only pretended to be with eldest sister, for the sake of the Mu family's assets. Later he not only swindled money, the con man also stole the company's secrets, causing both parents to die horribly, and the company to fall into all kinds of crisis. Eldest sister was pregnant at the time. Bai Feng used the chance to completely hollow out the company, and transfer the equity. Bai Feng and eldest sister's best friend had long been together. The friend even lied that she needed a transplant. So Bai Feng, ignoring eldest sister and the baby in her belly, forcibly removed eldest sister's kidney. In the end eldest sister died of rage on the operating table, and the friend was even crueler, watching eldest sister die and still not letting her go, also digging out her heart. Wu Yu was crueler still. For a little kickback, helped Bai Feng pursue eldest sister, I saw the three Mu family members' faces all turn very complex. Hearing their daughter treated so cruelly, Wu Jingshan and Suzy Xu trembled with rage. They seemed to overlook their own deaths mentioned in Yuji's inner voice. Their only thought being that as long as they live, they'd never let their daughter be bullied like this. It was Suzy Xu who calmed down first, squeezing Mu Jingshan's hand, signaling that all this was still just Muji's inner voice, unproven true or false. Mu Jingshan came to his senses too, and began quietly steadying his breathing. Mu Chunin frowned, half believing. She wanted Muj to elaborate a bit more, but waited a long while and Muj stayed quiet, seemingly unwilling to say more. To get more information, Mu Chunin made a decision. Oh right, Mom, Dad, if you're free tonight, I'll bring a Feng home for dinner. You haven't seen him in a while. The Mu couple agreed at once. They too urgently wanted to know the truth, but just then, My inner voice sounded again. That scumbag can't come tonight. His hemorrhoids burst and won't stop bleeding. He's lying on his stomach in the proctology department at People's Hospital right now. Hearing this, Mu Chuyan instinctively pressed her forehead. She recalled the call she'd gotten from by phone earlier, saying he was busy and couldn't get away, hoping she could help deliver a document for him. Could it be the real reason he couldn't get away was a hemorrhoid problem? So Mu Chuyan hurried out the door. Following her arrangement with Bai Feng, she went to another company to pick up the document, and when she brought it to Bai Feng's office, she found he really wasn't there. Only the assistant, looking nervous, said, "Miss Mu." Thank goodness she glanced around the office. Mu Chuyan asked casually, "Where's your president Bai? Didn't he say he was busy? Why isn't he at the company?" The assistant wiped the sweat off his forehead and explained stiffly, Yes, President Bai had something come up and went out for a business engagement. He really couldn't get away." Mu Chuyan gave a slight nod, not pressing further because she could soon verify whether Mu's inner voice was true. After leaving Bai's company, Mu Chuyan went straight to People's Hospital, and sure enough, in the VIP ward, saw that familiar figure. Mu Chuyan's face had already turned very ugly. She didn't care that Bai Feng hid his hemorrhoids from her. It was that this confirmed Mu's inner voice was real. In other words, she really would be cruelly destroyed by this scumbag someday. Mu Chuyan narrowed her eyes. A budding romance that had just sprouted, relationship barely begun, withering away just like that. That night Mu Chuyan indeed came home alone, and didn't bring up Bai Feng again. But Mu Qingchen and Su Xiexu understood at once. That Muj had probably guessed it all right, to spare their daughter embarrassment. They also said nothing about Bai Feng. Mu Chuyan took an exquisite little box out of a bag and handed it to me, who was absorbed in the TV. "Muj, I bought you a gift. See if you like it." At these words, everyone present went quiet. Yesterday Mu Chuyan had blasted me as a country bumpkin who only sees money. How come today she's giving a gift? Looking at the logo on the box, clearly worth a lot, I turned around curiously, pointing at myself. For me, Mu Chuyan didn't say much. I broke into a brilliant smile, and happily took the box. It was a watch. Looking at that understated luxury dial, inlaid with diamonds and sapphires, I was inwardly stunned. Must be a few $100,000. Thinking the Mu family would later go bankrupt, I naturally wanted to. Before that, stash away more personal savings, but abnormal behavior signals a catch, so I couldn't relax. "Eldest sister, this watch is too precious. I can't accept it. It's only $1 million, nothing much. If there's anything else you like later, just tell me. I'll get you something even better." Mu Chuyan's tone still wasn't exactly warm, but clearly, she'd come to somewhat accept this little brother from the countryside. Wu Yu came down from upstairs, and this is the scene he saw. Not wanting to test things in front of family again, he forced down the rage in his heart, and asked casually, "Eldest sister, you're so good to little brother Muj. I've been wanting this watch too." Then he blinked at Mu Chuyan, hoping this pitiful look would draw more care from eldest sister. But to his surprise, Mu Chuyan just gave him a cold glance, and said flatly, "If you want one, buy it yourself." This was the first time Mu Chuyan had ever been so cold to Mu Yu. She didn't want to be like this either, but remembering Mu Yu introduced Bai Feng to her for profit, she truly didn't want to bother with this once beloved little brother. Mu Yu turned away, chest tight and even more grief, but in front of so many people he couldn't show his anger. His eyes darted, and he suddenly thought of something. "Oh right, today mom and dad only bought little brother Muj a house and land. Haven't bought a car yet, right? How about I take him to look at cars tomorrow? I happen to know quite a bit about this area." Hearing Mu Yu say this, the Mu family was a bit surprised, not understanding why Mu's attitude had shifted so fast. The next day, Mu Yu and I went together to a dealership selling imported luxury cars. To my surprise, his pack of cronies was waiting at the door early. Seeing us, they started in. "Mu Yu, the new son mom and dad brought home, calling me a country bumpkin. Actually my looks are far better than Mu's. Sharp, defined features, handsome face, my build and presence half a head taller than Mu Yu. Plus the solid muscles and long legs, built from farm work, practically like a male lead in a Korean drama. It's just my skin's a bit dark from years of sun and wind, and my hair's a mess. The clothes Xiaolei bought me don't suit my style, making me look a bit out of place, so those people would mock me. But I knew clearly they were Mu Yu's friends. No matter what I was like, they wouldn't pass up a chance to mock me. I couldn't be bothered and walked straight into the store. This store usually had few customers. When we came in, several salespeople, as if jacked up on adrenaline, rushed over fast, asking what cars we wanted to see, if we had a model in mind. Just as I was about to smile and state my request, I found they ignored me entirely, going straight to the others. I couldn't help my twitching slightly, thinking, judging people by their looks indeed, and so blatantly too, but I said nothing more. If the salespeople ignore me, I'll just look around myself. This store's cars really aren't for ordinary people. The cheapest goes for $2 million, and in the middle there's a limited edition centerpiece of the store. After I walked a loop, my eyes landed on an Aston Martin SUV. Tall guys feel cramped in sports cars. This SUV, though unassuming, suits me. I remarked, $3+ million. Pricey. I went to open the door to check the interior, when a sharp shriek came from behind, and a woman in her 30s hurried over. I frowned and asked her, "You can't touch the cars here." The woman said disdainfully, "Touching it without buying, can you afford it if you scratch it?" I was practically laughing in anger, not bothering to argue, and just went to sit at a nearby table and chair. I wanted to see how these salespeople, after busting their butts for ages, would react when they realized those people had no intention of buying. Just then a cup of warm water was set before me, and a timid little voice spoke up, saying she thought it was pretty pricey too. I looked up, puzzled, and saw a petite, cute girl standing before me, smiling shyly, lowering her voice. "The cars here really are too expensive." Realizing the girl was agreeing with me, I couldn't help laughing and asked if she was new. She said she only started interning last month. I quietly glanced at the name tag on her chest. Lu Xiaoxiao, a fitting name indeed. By now the salespeople surrounding Muyu and his group had finally caught on. These spoiled brats not only had no intention of buying a car, they were taunting them with rude remarks. Even realizing it, they could only force a smile. Just then I waved and said to Lu Xiaoxiao, "Write up the order. I'll take this model." She seemed not to react, standing there blankly for a while. I asked again when the new car would arrive, and she finally caught on, her little face beaming with excitement. "Next month." And she immediately ran to the office to grab the paperwork, set it before me, about to explain more, but I signed my name directly, and handed over the black card. The whole process flowed smoothly, without a hitch. Lu Xiaoxiao's eyes were full of excitement. Working here over a month, this was her first sale. I felt refreshed and at ease too, and rose to head for the door. The salespeople who'd been toyed with by Muyu's group were full of frustration. Seeing me walk by, they found an outlet, sniping, "If you're not buying, leave early." Before he could finish, he saw the receipt in my hand. I waved it and said, "A bad brain is one thing, but bad eyes are worse, plus a habit of judging people by appearance, treating trash like treasure." That line scolded two groups at once. Muyu's face was ugly, and the salespeople realized they shouldn't have offended me, glancing one after another at Lu Xiaoxiao, their eyes full of envy. I'd planned to leave directly, but unexpectedly, at the store entrance, I bumped into a woman around my age. When I saw her face clearly, my expression instantly turned sour. I looked her up and down, constantly searching my memory, and confirmed it was Lian Xiaowei. Lian Xiaowei was my high school classmate, and the school's laughingstock. Back then, with her refined looks, she was the dream girl of many boys, but now, heavily made up, she'd long lost that purity she had back then. I had no good impression of her, and had no intention of small talk, but she wouldn't let it go, saying I was a clingy ghost, because she'd rejected my confession, and I still wouldn't let her be after so long. Lian Xiaowei's words left me momentarily not knowing what to say. Never mind that this meeting was pure coincidence. Just take back in school, I'd never once confessed to her. At most I'd been joked about a few times by the school bullies who liked to pick on me. Just then, Wu Yu and his cronies came out of the store, catching Lian Xiaowei's complaint right on cue. "Muge, you can't act like this. Chasing a girl, you've got to mind your methods. Can't pester relentlessly," Wu Yu said snidely, shooting me a contemptuous, snorting look. The others chimed in too. "That's right. Take a look at yourself. A toad lusting after swan meat." After the mockery, they gradually noticed Lian Xiaowei, only then realizing she was rather pretty. One of them stepped forward. "Beautiful. You might consider our young master. Be with him and no one would ever dare harass you again."